you want to be like this girl or this girl? Well, probably more like this girl, but there's times when you can't afford to be like that. You have a deadline, you have things to get done, you need to work, and you need to be productive like her. So when you're stuck in a rut and you need to be productive, sometimes you need some tips to help you, right? So here are my top 5 tips to staying productive. Looking at my background, maybe you can guess my first tip. To make yourself a coffee. Now, I'm not sharing this tip because coffee gives you the energy that you need to be productive all day. It's more of having the act of making the coffee be that initiating factor to starting getting your work done. So it doesn't need to be coffee. A tea, a matcha, any other beverage you like, even a bowl of cereal, a snack that you could prepare yourself. Just doing the act of making any of these things and bringing it to your desk and enjoying it while you work really helps you have this boost of productivity. First off, it can really help you because it's kind of like the habit stacking, where every day when you make your coffee or prepare your snack or make your tea, you know that the next thing you're gonna do once it's finished is go to work. So having that as like an initial factor really helps you kind of get your work started. And then the second piece of it, why it's one of my tips for productivity, is because it just feels so great to have something while you're working. Pair something that you enjoy doing, like drinking a cup of coffee, with something that you don't really want to do, like maybe getting your work done for the day. So when you pair those things together, it just makes working more enjoyable. So time to make myself a cup of coffee. Time blocking. I'm sure you have heard of time blocking your calendar to all the things you have to do in a day, but for me that doesn't really work. I actually have a website that I found that lets you set a timer for as long as you want, and the little tab, Chrome tab, shows you the timer running down, and it's really helpful. I also don't like to be really strict with it because I've found that if I try to do something like the Pomodoro method, which maybe you've heard of, when I try to do something like that, I start working into the break time that I have. And so since that happens a lot, I'm not really strict with my time blocking. I'm just put a timer for an hour. I work in that hour, and if I decide that like I'm in the flow of things, because the hardest part is just starting, then I just keep working, and then I take my break later. My next tip is all about rewards. So when I was talking about doing that time blocking, so you set your timer for an hour, right? What kind of gets you through that hour? Something that really helps me is like setting a reward for after that hour is done, I kind of get something out of it. So whether that be like I get to make my second cup of coffee, or I get to watch TV for a little bit, or I get to make myself a snack, whatever reward you think of, it like keeps you motivated during the hour to keep working. It doesn't even have to be things after the time block that you have set for yourself. You could set a reward for yourself for the end of the day. So if I get like 2 out of 3 of the things I have on my to-do list done, I get to go and enjoy some frozen yogurt outside. Like something small like that to keep you like motivated and going. So that's really helped me and like kept me motivated when I don't really want to do work, or I am like too lazy to do work. If I have something to look forward to, it helps me get my work done. Now this is the most basic productivity tip out there, but it works. A to-do list. Every morning when I feel overwhelmed with all the work I have to do for the week, when I am able to write them down and clearly know what I gotta get done that day, it just seems much more achievable than like it all up in my head. So my only tips for making a to-do list is basically do it every morning before you start your work. Write down, clear your mind what you have to get done. Or even do it the night before. That helps a lot of people as well. My other tip for making a to-do list is Keep it simple, make it achievable. I never put more than 3 things on my daily to-do list. And if I have like only one thing I want to get done, that's fine. Just like put that one thing that you have energy for. And maybe even like break down that one thing into little like smaller subsections of things you need to get done in order to get that one thing complete. But yeah, keep your to-do list simple, but it really does help. People always say like make a to-do list to be productive because it really works. Some people make to-do lists digitally, some people do it physically. I personally love writing it in my notebook and being able to cross the things out when I'm complete. And as long as I get honestly like one thing on my to-do list done, I find the day as a success. And you can also just tie it in with like that reward system of like, oh, I have 3 things I need to get done today, but if I get all of them done, I then can go shopping after work. I find that to be really helpful. And my last tip, which I think is the most impactful, is to focus on one thing at a time. Now, I fall into this trap all the time where I have like a bajillion things I need to get done, and I start working on one thing, and then in the middle of it, I go on to the next thing, and then I go back to the first thing, and it's just a mess. What happens is that I never get anything done. I never get anything complete. Everything is just halfway done, a quarter done. And so my tip to stay productive and actually get things done is to just focus on one thing at a time. You know that to-do list you wrote? Focus on the first thing and don't go on to the next until you complete that first one, or you're like blocked on like someone else or something. Then move on to the second thing. I just noticed a big difference that when I'm like working on 5 things at once versus like working on one thing at a time, I just notice how much more productive I have been and how much more I actually get done. So if you tend to just like work on 5 things at once, just like I do, take a step back, pick one thing to do and just work on that in that 1 hour time slot that you have. Set for yourself, work on that one thing until you complete it. Hope these tips helped you out. I hope that if you're feeling a little unmotivated, you try at least one of these things and it helps you stay productive. Sometimes we just need to get things done, and even though we don't want to, we have to stay disciplined, stay productive. Now I need to go. I have to actually do my actual job and be productive in that. So hopefully see you next time. Bye.